It's January 2026. You told yourself this year would be different. You were going to save money, pay off debt, finally get your financial life together. And here you are, some days in, already breaking those promises to yourself. You know what's wild? By February, 80% of New Year's resolutions are abandoned. But here's the thing. The people who actually transform their financial lives in 2026 aren't relying on motivation or willpower. They're relying on 10 specific habits that make building wealth basically automatic. And the best part? These aren't the boring habits you've heard a million times. These are the ones that actually move the needle. My name is Fad, and I spend way too much time thinking about why some people effortlessly build wealth, while others work just as hard and stay broke forever. If you're someone who's tired of starting every year with financial goals you never achieve, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Habit 1. The Sunday Money Meeting. Here's what most people don't realize. The wealthy check their finances weekly, not monthly when the credit card bill arrives. Weekly. Every Sunday, spend 15 minutes reviewing your accounts. What came in, what went out, any unusual charges. This one habit catches problems early, keeps you aware of your financial reality, and prevents that end-of-month shock when you realize you're broke again. Research from the Journal of Consumer Research shows people who check their accounts weekly spend 23% less than people who check monthly. 23%! That's potentially thousands of dollars a year just from paying attention. Habit 2. Pay yourself first automatically. Look, budgeting doesn't work for most people because it requires constant willpower. You know what does work? Automation. The day your paycheck hits, not 2 days later, not when you have money left over, automatically transfer money to savings, even if it's just $50. The money disappears before you can spend it, before you can talk yourself out of it, before you even see it. Here's the math. $50 per paycheck is $1,300 per year. That's your emergency fund starter. That's your I can actually handle life fund. And you won't even miss it because you never saw it in the first place. Habit 3. The 24-hour rule for non-essentials. So this is where it gets interesting. Every purchase over $50 that's not essential, you wait 24 hours before buying it. This one habit will cut your impulse spending by at least 60%. Because here's what happens. That thing you absolutely needed yesterday, half the time you forget about it. The other half, you realize you don't actually want it that badly. Amazon has trained us to buy instantly. One click and it's done. But that instant gratification is destroying your wealth. The 24-hour rule puts friction back into spending, and friction is your friend.
Habit 4. Track one number weekly. Now, you might be thinking, Thad, I don't want to track every expense. That sounds exhausting. Good, don't. Instead, track one number every week, your net worth. Assets minus liabilities. That's it. When you see that number go up week after week, something shifts psychologically. You start making decisions that increase net worth instead of decisions that feel good in the moment. You're playing a different game now, one with an actual scoreboard. Habit 5. The 3-account system. Here's the thing. One checking account is a recipe for confusion. You need 3 accounts: bills, spending, and savings. When your paycheck hits, it splits automatically. Fixed expenses go to bills, fun money goes to spending, future you gets savings. This system makes it physically impossible to accidentally spend your rent money on takeout. Most people who think they're bad with money just have a bad system. Fix the system, fix the problem. Habit 6. Calculate your real hourly wage. This one's psychological but incredibly powerful. Take your annual income, divide by 2080 work hours per year, then subtract taxes. That's your real hourly wage. Let's say you make $50,000. After taxes, that's about $40,000. Divided by 2080 hours, you're earning $19.23 per hour. Now, when you're about to spend $100 on something, you realize that's 5.2 hours of your life. Suddenly, that purchase decision gets a lot more real. You're not spending money, you're spending life energy. That perspective shift changes everything. Habit 7, the No Spend Day Challenge. 1 day per week, spend absolutely nothing. Zero. Not a coffee, not a parking fee, not a single dollar. This habit does two things. First, it proves you can actually control your spending when you decide to. Second, it breaks the daily spending autopilot most people are stuck in. If you do this every week for a year, that's 52 days of zero spending. Even if you normally spend just $20 on those days, you've saved $1,040. But more importantly, you've rewired your brain to see spending as optional, not inevitable. Habit 8. Negotiate one bill per quarter. Here's what people miss. Almost everything is negotiable. Insurance, phone bill, internet, subscriptions, all of it. Every 3 months, pick one bill and call to negotiate it. I'm looking at my budget and considering canceling. What can you do for me? Half the time, they'll cut your rate on the spot. Even saving $20 per month on 4 bills throughout the year is $960 annually. That's almost $1,000 you were just giving away because you didn't ask for a better deal. Habit 10. The cost per use calculation. Before buying anything, calculate the cost per use. That $200 gym membership you'll use 3 times? $67 per visit. That $30 book you'll actually read? $30 one time, but if it changes your thinking, it's worth $30,000. This habit makes you way more intentional about purchases. You stop buying based on price and start buying based on value. And here's where this gets really interesting. You'll actually spend more on things you'll use a lot and way less on things that'll sit in your closet. Habit 10. Monthly financial education. Look, you wouldn't try to get in shape without learning about fitness. Why would you try to build wealth without learning about money? 1 hour per month, just 1 hour, consuming financial content. Books, videos, podcasts, whatever works for you. Compound your knowledge the same way you compound your investments. Warren Buffett reads 5 to 6 hours a day. You can spare 1 hour per month. That's 12 hours of financial education, which puts you ahead of 95% of people who never learn anything about money after high school. Here's the brutal truth. None of these habits are revolutionary. You've probably heard some version of most of them before. But here's what most people don't realize. It's not about finding the perfect habit. It's about stacking multiple small habits that compound together. Let's do the math on what these habits save you annually. Weekly reviews, $500 plus in caught errors and reduced spending. Automated savings, $1,300 minimum. 24-hour rule, $2,000 plus in avoided impulse purchases. No spend days, $1,000. Bill negotiation, $960. That's $5,760 per year minimum, and that's being conservative. For most people, it's closer to $10,000. If you're 30 years old and invest that $5,760 annually at 7% returns, by age 65, you'll have $735,000 from habits, not from making more money, not from some complicated investment strategy, just from basic, simple habits.
So here's where I get slightly frustrated. Most people hear this and think, cool, I'll start all 10 habits tomorrow. Don't. You'll fail. I've seen it 1,000 times. Instead, pick 2 habits, just 2. Do those for 30 days until they're actually automatic. Then add another 2. By July, you'll have all 10 habits running on autopilot. The people who try to change everything at once quit by January 20th. The people who build slowly are still going strong in December, looking back at a completely transformed financial life. Look, here's what this is really about. Are you someone who does these things, or are you someone who wishes they did these things? Because I know people making $40,000 with 6-figure net worths, and I know people making $150,000 who are completely broke. The difference isn't income, it's identity. It's who you are when no one's watching. It's the habits you run on autopilot. Every time you execute one of these habits, you're casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. Do it enough times, and you don't have to try to build wealth anymore. It's just what you do. It's who you are. Look, I get it. It's January 6th, and you're already tired of hearing about New Year's resolutions and financial goals and all the stuff you should be doing. But here's what you need to understand. 2026 is going to happen whether you build these habits or not. December will arrive, and you'll either be someone who actually changed their financial life, or you'll be someone making the same resolutions again for 2027. The difference between those two people isn't talent or luck or income. It's habits. 10 specific, simple habits that anyone can build. So here's what you're going to do right now. Pick 2 habits from this list. Write them down, set up the systems you need to make them automatic, then actually do them for 30 days. If this gave you a clear path forward for 2026, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment with which 2 habits you're starting with. I want to know what you're committing to. And check out my video on building your first $10,000, linked below. Because once you've got these habits dialed in, that's your next milestone. Thanks for watching. Now go pick your 2 habits and actually start.